that's
Definitely making a name for the international game, absolutely.
Yeah, Penn State has a few, but definitely not as much as Iowa. Iowa's been a force to be reckoned with throughout the season, throughout the last few years in the Big Ten. This should be a really solid matchup. Penn State is led by Sophia Gladio. She is off the charts, has started in every game for the Nittany Lions since she got here in 2020, I believe. She's a junior. Mackenzie Allison, she's been great all year. They work really well together. So it's going to be an offensive battle today for sure.
Definitely an offensive battle between these two teams. The last time these two teams met last year in Iowa, Iowa came out on top 4-0, and their series is sitting with Iowa leading at 33, 26, and 1. So we're going to get started here finally between these two teams in Happy Valley. Of course, you see Penn State here in the pink uniforms today for breast cancer awareness. Big promo going on for this weekend. Of course, you've got the pink game tonight and alumni weekend as well. So we're going to have a big groundbreaking on Sunday here.
Penn State's coming out with it, looking to get Iowa out of their 18-meter.
Already seen a very aggressive start.
I'll admit, the colors are throwing me off a little bit. Not having the blue and white on the field is different, but
it's a bit of a change, but we're working through it anyway.
Look good, play good, am I right?
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that's how all of these girls feel. Had a good start for Penn State's offense there, driving it straight into the circle against Iowa, but it's going to be coming out again.
Iowa's been pretty efficient this year with their cross-field transition. They move the ball really well. They move it fast. They've got a lot of weapons at midfield. They're all really good with their sticks. So they just do a really great job getting it up to the forwards and making things happen early.
Big weapon from Iowa that we'll probably see at one point is going to be number 4, Alex Wisniewski. She currently sits at 4th in the nation with 11 goals total this season. She's definitely going to be one of their players to watch out for on offense.
Yeah, definitely. She's 3rd in the Big Ten with goals scored. Honestly, the Big Ten is probably the most competitive conference for field hockey in the nation. There's I want to say 4 or 5 teams in the top 10 that are just straight Big Ten. Obviously, like you said earlier, Penn State number 5, Iowa number 4. It doesn't get much better than this.
Within the top 5, 4 teams from the Big Ten. So definitely a standout conference in the sport. So it's always a good time to see 2 Big Ten teams come up against each other. And Iowa already showing off their strength as well, but quickly recovered by Penn State defense. Definitely going to be a big matchup in defenses today and offenses as well, just based on the strength of these 2 teams.
I will give it to Iowa's defense. They have done a great job this year. They have the lowest shot against percentage in the Big Ten. They just do a really good job keeping people out of the goal circle, protecting their goalie. They have Grace McGuire back there. She's done a really great job with the shots she has faced, but compared to their offense, they are not letting too many shots in.
Both these teams coming in off some big weekends. Both teams playing about 2 games this past weekend. Big game for Iowa coming in against number 21 Rutgers, coming out on top 1-0. But Penn State had a very interesting weekend out on a road trip. They had a match against Northwestern where they lost 5-4 in overtime, but brought it back the next Sunday with a 4-0 win against Indiana. Notable mention, Alessi and Gladio in both games had hat tricks each, with Alessi against Northwestern and Gladio against Indiana, just showing the pure strength of that duo on Penn State's offense.
Yeah, they've been something special for sure. Sophia Gladio, she'll be back next year. Mackenzie Allison, she will be graduating, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of weapons they're going to bring in to replace that, because Mackenzie Allison has had a great year, great campaign overall in the Big Ten, coming over from Ohio State, where she was Offensive Player of the Year her last year there. She's just continued to break new records. She also was on the national team back in 2019 and again this year in 2022. She's something.
Already a very quick game going back and forth for each team. Each team hasn't been able to kind of keep it in the spot where they want it. They've been going back and forth, which I think is going to be a big note this game. You're going to see that ball moving quick against both ends of the field.
Penn State getting a really big move up the field after some back and forth across the midfield line. They are in the goalie circle now, but it will be recovered by Iowa.
Both teams getting some great drives so far early into this game with 9 minutes left in the first. Definitely a back and forth game, but we're looking to go hard today.
These midfielders have got to already be wiped. There's been so much back and forth, like he said, and they're going all the way back and then all the way back again. It's not just they're passing around, kind of looking to get possession. They're draining themselves, so good for them.
But with the strength of these midfields, I don't think we'll see them tire out very quickly at all. Big break for Iowa, but quickly stopped by Penn State, but that's going to result in a corner here.
First corner of the game is in the favor of Iowa. Iowa's been pretty good on these plays this year. Like we said earlier, they move the ball really fast. They read each other super well. But Bree Baracco in goal. It'll be a good matchup.
And Iowa will take the shot off. And that is quickly stopped by Baracco. Great way to drive it out of the circle. But is recovered by Iowa and brought back in. And that'll be a Penn State ball going out. Already a good showing from Baracco on her defense against these corners. It'll definitely be a big matchup probably within these plays. So it'll be interesting to see both goalies going at it.
And both the goalies we're seeing today are the best of the best. We have Grace McGuire for Iowa. She's an 80.4 save percentage and .83 goals against average. That is extremely impressive for the sport. Bree Baracco for Penn State. She is 74%, has 47 saves in 2022 with 4 shutouts so far this season. Hoping to get number 5 against this top-ranked Iowa team. So far, so good, with the defense keeping them out of the goal circle in general.
Iowa doing a great job of moving this ball around the field and getting Penn State's defense to move around with them.
All right, that ball will be coming out. Penn State once again getting those stops in critical situations.
Even with Iowa driving down to their end of the field, Penn State's defense is showing why they are so strong. And the offense getting a good drive right here to take it down to Iowa's end of the field.
She just made it through 3 Iowa defenders absolutely unscathed to get all the way up to the goal circle, get a shot off. So far, we're looking pretty good for the Penn State offense. They're staying calm.
Great reverse shot.
Wow, lit it up fast. That was a beautiful goal. I believe that was Sophia Gladio.
Great reverse goal. You can hear the team going crazy on the sidelines.
Yeah, we got a great crowd out there today. If you can see on the sideline of the screen, this is definitely not what it was when we walked in about an hour and a half ago. So this is impressive for not such a big field hockey facility. They've got a great showing, a lot of parents from both sides. So
a big alumni weekend, especially up here at Penn State. We have family weekend going on, so definitely a lot of people turning out.
So that goal for Penn State was scored by Anna Simon. That is her 3rd goal this season. When she's in the circle, she's lethal. She kind of likes to set up her teammates more, but that was beautiful.
A great reverse shot from her.
Anna Simon, she is a grad student from Germany. She has played in every game for the Nittany Lions since she's been here. She started out in the fall of 2018, and she's just done a great job on the midfield side of the ball.
And that goal right there is good evidence as to why she has played all those games. That's a great weapon you have right behind Alessia and Gladio to have her come in and be able to take that shot and be productive when she can.
Overall, this is a strong start for the Nittany Lions. They're definitely coming in today as the underdogs. Not by much, but to get a start this early on, first quarter, against such a high caliber offense.
And it's a great start for Penn State, as the Hawkeyes have been outscoring their opponents 11-0 in the first quarter and 17-2 in the first half this entire season. A lot of the games they have scored within the first 7 minutes of the match. So having Penn State being able to come out on top with 4 minutes left here in the first and being able to get that first goal and get that momentum is great for them. As we mentioned, a great turnout here at the Penn State complex. Of course, you have the missing stands on the far side of the field, but those will be replaced very soon with a beautiful new complex that they are doing a groundbreaking for on Sunday. And we have a couple other things going on. Of course, Sunday we're going to have some big matches with Penn State taking on Lafayette, and right before that game, we'll have Iowa taking on JMU as well. And then over in Pagula next door at 7 o'clock, we have the men's hockey team taking on a good game there. So definitely a good turnout. Got some people stopping in over here before they head into Pagula for a good game.
And today we also have the men's soccer game at 7. Men's soccer is doing really well. Heavy Big Ten title contenders this season. As for the women, so to have this kind of a turnout on a Friday night like this, it's pretty impressive.
Especially with a large fan base. I saw them from Iowa. A lot of Iowa fans made it out to Happy Valley here, which is definitely a shocker. I mean, that was definitely a long trip for them, but good for them with their support. They're out here in their full tailgate gear and everything. They are ready for this game.
Iowa field hockey does not mess around, and neither do their fans.
Penn State already taking it back down to Iowa's side of the field after a late first quarter goal. Good ball sent in, but unfortunately recovered by Iowa, and so Iowa's going to start their drive down the field.
And that ball will be out of bounds, but Iowa recovers it. They are bringing it back in, looking to get their first shot on goal, or their first goal for the day. Like you said, they're usually pretty efficient in the first quarter, so for Penn State's defense to hold them out this long, they're looking to make something happen. You can tell they're eager for it.
Still some great movement for this ball from both sides of the field. But Iowa really showing that they can move that ball and they can take it from all different angles. Great recovery there by number 2, Mackenzie Alessi for Penn State.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of attacking of the ball, so fast movement on both ends here today is going to be super important in success and maintaining possession as a team. Both these teams, you can tell they're really going to fight for this win today.
Kelsey Love down there facing off with an Iowa player to get that ball out of the circle and get that ball into Penn State's favor.
Some great transition defense by Iowa, recovering the ball before they even got to the other half of the field, keeping it within their own offensive 50.
Hoping to get some sort of recovery back from that late first quarter goal from Penn State in these last 30 seconds to hopefully go into the second quarter tied, almost as if it's a 0-0 game.
Penn State will recover it and look to bring it back downfield, potentially a buzzer beater for the end of the quarter. But the ball is sent back out and recovered again by Penn State.
And a great ball to end these last 10 seconds of the first quarter.
And that will take the first quarter. Penn State 1, Iowa 0. It was impressive. You can tell they both really want it. Like I said, that was an explosive performance overall. It'll be a really tough matchup between the two, but I don't know. What are you thinking?
We've got 3 quarters left of this game. Anything can happen at this point. And we're back for the second quarter of this game. Going to have Penn State taking control of the ball on the start of the second quarter. Another 15 minutes to have these two teams go at each other. And already a quick turnout by Penn State's offense, but quickly recovered by the defense of Iowa, who will try and get it out of their half and bring it back down to the other half of the field.
Some lockdown defense from Penn State. Iowa, like we keep saying, they really want to make something happen here. They are not used to playing from behind like they are right now. This is a very unfamiliar feeling. We'll get a stop on play. Iowa will be bringing it back in.
Iowa tried to take that ball a little too quick, but the ref brought him back there. Iowa taking any chance they can get to get this ball down the field and get it into that cage. Getting a bit windy out there on the field, as you can see by the flags. They're going a bit crazy, so I can only imagine the temperature right now on the field.
Especially since Penn State's playing in the pink out tank tops today. A lot of the Iowa players, they've got the Under Armour on underneath their jerseys, but Penn State is just braving the cold, typical Happy Valley temperature. It was 70 degrees and sunny yesterday, and now it's extreme wind temperature, freezing colds. I expect nothing less out of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania weather will do that, but I bet you that these Iowa girls are probably used to it, so I don't think the weather is going to be anything to deter them away. Penn State trying to take that ball out. Luckily got a good call there. Great drive by Penn State's offense, but that ball is going to go just out wide, so that will turn it back over to Iowa.
We're seeing a lot of strength in Iowa's backfield use. If they get caught in anything, they're sending it right back to their deep defender, which is paying off for them so far. They're not losing the ball nearly as much in transition, but that ball right in the backfield will be intercepted, and it was shot
wide by Sophia Gladio. So far, these Penn State offensive players are going for that reverse shot a lot, trying to catch the goalie off guard.
Those shots we see a lot in college field hockey. They're very high risk, high reward. We saw it pay off really well in the first. It's almost a blind attempt going right into it. You can't really aim, you can't see. You just got to trust that you know where your stick is and where the ball is going to go with it. We saw that one go really high and wide, but the first one was perfect, so.
Some battle in the corner there between Iowa and Penn State. Iowa seemed to recover it quickly, but she has 3 Penn State offensive players on top of her currently. Something that Penn State, not only their defense but their offense does a lot, is double teaming a lot of players, putting the pressure on them, driving them where they want to go. That's how they get a lot of their turnovers and how they keep pressure on the defense of the opposing team. So we'll be seeing that a lot from Penn State.
Ball is sent through into the goal circle and just missed, so the ball will be coming out from the Iowa defense. Penn State is looking to get it back already.
And Iowa going for the field switch there right off the bat, trying to throw Penn State off, take it from a different angle. See the field just a little bit differently. Sometimes it works out for you. Great lifted ball by Iowa, but that's going to be taken back for Penn State to take into the game.
Penn State's taking a little bit of that Iowa defense and using it themselves, sending it right back to try to find other ways to get the ball up the field. Ball's lifted right over the midfield line, and it is going to switch fields right back down to Kelsey Love, and it is taken over by the Iowa offense. They will look to get it right back in where they started.
Seeing some great passes from the Iowa side, but that one seemed to just jump a bit too much, and it's going to be taken over by Penn State. Great go-ahead by Anna Simon.
Iowa's defense is definitely locked down since that first goal. We're seeing way less of Penn State getting into the goal circle, and the ball's coming right back out once they do.
Good attempt to get around that Iowa defender, but just went a little outside that line.
Ball will be put out by an Iowa forward. This means Penn State will take it back. They are switching through the backfield, trying to get some more opportunities on the other side. Trying to get the ball to cross the midfield. They've been struggling with that a little bit this quarter.
Just missing somebody up front for that pass from Mackenzie Alessi, and it unfortunately goes out, so that'll be a ball coming back by Iowa. great attempts by the Iowa defense to send this ball forward, but every single one so far has been taken back by Penn State and pushed up to their offense.
No big plays by the high forwards on either end of the ball in this quarter. It's been a big midfield game here, just trying to maintain possession, get the ball moving fast and efficiently to their other teammates. And that ball is out on Penn State. I take it back. The ball was out on Iowa. Penn State was going to be taking it back in.
Switching the field right in front of the cage here, trying to get a new look. And that ball's going to be brought into the circle, but unfortunately poked out by Penn State, so that ball will be coming back into the field by Iowa. You see a lot of Penn State right in the center here. They almost know that they're going to cross fields, but they leave themselves right there in the center just in case.
Penn State's doing a lot of good sideline work, trying to keep Iowa out of their defensive end, trying to get them out midway so they can just sneak back into offense, but unsuccessful getting their stick out of the way for it.
And here will be an Iowa drive down into their offensive half of the field, trying to bring it into the circle here, see if they can get anything going. And that call will be in Iowa's favor. So Iowa will be taking it in from the hash. And a great double team from Penn State's defense to drive that ball out.
That might have been the closest Iowa's been to the goal in this quarter so far. Like we said earlier, it's just been a lot of midfield work and not maintaining possession as a team. And Iowa will take it right back from Penn State before they even cross the midfield line, looking to get it back in to tie the game before heading into the half. But Penn State will recover it and bring it up the side.
Got a great recovery off of a deflection from a Penn State stick. And they will quickly cross it into the midfield. Something both teams have been doing very well so far this game is moving this ball around. Some great movement by Penn State's offense here.
One key component in Penn State's success so far this season has been their confidence in each other and in their stick work. You can just tell they're all on another level with each other, trusting where these balls are going to go, kind of just reading it before it comes off their stick, and it's been good for them. They've been able to move the ball really well today and throughout the whole season.
Again, sending it back down deep in the center here to Nook Knuvers, who has been a solid center back here for Penn State and has been able to switch these fields for them to get them drives like this one. And Anna Simon will chase that ball down, bring it into the circle. And that will be Penn State's first corner of the game. And so we'll see if Penn State can capitalize on this, potentially get themselves another goal here and bring it up to 2-0 in the second. We currently sit at 1-0 Penn State with 3:31 left to go in the second quarter before half. And we will see Alessi go down to bring the ball into the circle. You have Anna Simon, Sophia Gladio at the top.
It's looking like this could be a potential setup for Anna Simon. Once again, we see Gladio down, ready to deflect the pass. And there it was. Beautiful shot, but it is deflected by Grace McGuire. Like we said earlier, she's just an outstanding goalie. She's done a really good job for the Iowa Hawkeyes this year. And she's continuing to prove herself in this game as to why she's such a high-caliber defensive unit.
This was a great setup there for Anna Simon, but McGuire just was there, unfortunately, and it did not get past her, and she got the deflection out wide.
Penn State's now looking to recover off their defensive end and get one more shot at a goal before heading into the half, looking to get a big lead, buy themselves some insurance against such a great offensive unit out here in Happy Valley. That was a beautiful diving save.
Some great fight going on up in the midfield along the sidelines there. And that will be taken back for Iowa. Some substitutions going on for Iowa on the sideline there.
Great recovery and field cross out there, trying to find the open player, getting it right up the side successfully. And it will be fumbled, get it right out there. Iowa will take back the ball and head back down to their offensive end, excuse me.
Great ball by Penn State there to send it down to the other end of the field.
That's the one thing we're seeing from Penn State today and not from Iowa. It's those lifted balls getting right down the field, because we've seen a lot of interceptions on the direct passes on the ground, so I think they've been a little bit more successful with that.
Great setup for Anna Simon in the top of the circle, and that will just hit the right outside half of the cage there. Great setup by Alessi and an amazing shot by Simon, but just a little wide. So that will set this ball at the 25 for Penn State, and Alessi will bring it in. Penn State's offense still on the attack with 1 minute left here in the second quarter. Still with a 1-0 lead, but looking to make it a 2-0 lead, but have not been able to yet. Iowa just missing that pass. Another great lifted ball by Penn State, but quickly recovered by Iowa.
16 seconds to play, and there's been a whistle, full-on stoppage of play.
And that ball will be brought back for Iowa.
Switching to their backfield like they keep doing. So far it's paying off for them. Let's see if they can get it in just before the time runs out here in the second quarter. And that is recovered by Kelsey Love as the buzzer will run out in this first half. Like we said, Penn State 1, Iowa 0. Great competitive environment today in Happy Valley. Looking forward to a good second half.
Hopefully will be a great second half with some field.
All right, we are back in Happy Valley with the second half of Big Ten field hockey. Number 4 Iowa versus number 5 Penn State. Penn State leads 1-0 at the half. They got an early start. About 7 minutes in, they got their first goal. So far, they've kept Iowa scoreless in the first half. One of the few teams to do that to them this season. Looking forward to a big half of some collegiate field hockey.
And Iowa hopefully taking some notes coming in after the half here to get something going for them, get them down to the opposite end of the field and put that ball on the goal. See if they can get something going, or will it remain more of a Penn State show-off. Both teams battling great together, and it'll be a great, interesting second half of this game.
Crossing the field a lot so far in this first 30 seconds of play in the second half. So far, I've not been able to get it into either defensive or offensive end. Just kind of playing game of pass here in the midfield.
Iowa definitely having a better start this half than last half. They've been able to kind of keep control of the ball for a bit longer. Great ball that was sent in down to their offensive half of the field, but that will go wide and go out, so Penn State will bring it back in at the hash.
Neither goalie today has seen much action. Both of them tallying 1 save, and then Grace McGuire for Iowa, obviously 1 goal against, which is more than her season average of goals against, which is a .83. So Penn State's definitely taking advantage of their early lead, trying to make it even bigger against such a great goalie like Grace McGuire.
Both teams only having 1 corner each, so very difficult to capitalize on those, but some great showings from their defenses as well to be able to keep from getting those penalties in that circle and keep that ball going in and out.
Exactly, and it's such a close matchup like the ones we're seeing. There are 4 and 5, 2 Big Ten opponents. You'd expect it to be a lot more aggressive, a lot more, you know, not clean, but it's been a pretty good day of clean, happy field hockey play.
Great ball by Penn State to bring it back down into their circle, and that'll be a great shot, but deflected by McGuire. He's going to send the ball out wide, and Gladio will be down there to bring it into the circle. And that will be a Penn State corner. Great way to start off with at the 12-minute mark here in the third quarter with an offensive quarter for Penn State. We'll see if they can capitalize off of this one, only their second of the game.
You can tell Gladio really wants this. She is the second highest goal scorer in the Big Ten. She is at 13 so far, looking to top last season 18. And she hasn't really gotten her stick on the ball yet. She hasn't made much happen in this offense, which is not like her. So here she is, looking like she's going to set up Anna Simon again for this corner shot.
Potentially shots from Gladio Simon or potentially low by Punch. And that ball will be sent in up to the top. Great shot by Gladio, but great save by McGuire. And that ball will be taken out wide from the circle.
McGuire was not letting another one in there. She was all over that ball before it came even within a few feet of her. She was on the ground ready to go. She got it out with her stick, which you don't see a lot of from goalies, especially not in college, but she made it happen. Iowa's getting it up the field, taking it up by the midline now. The ball is knocked out, but they will recover it and keep heading downfield, looking to tie this game up at 1.
Iowa again switching fields very early, seeing if they can get anything going, but that will be turned over to Gemma Punch. And she will take that into the circle to set up Gladio. And a great shot, but deflected off of a Iowa player's foot, so that will result in another corner for Penn State.
If you're Grace McGuire, you've got to be sweating right now. That is 2 corners in 2 minutes. And when you have such a strong offense, such prominent goal scorers who are just so good, so quick with their stick, you got to trust in your defense, but you got to be ready for anything.
We'll see if they go for a similar setup as the last one, or will they try a different spot and get a different look on the ball. Again, you have Elena Voss up at the top of the circle to make the stop for Gladio or Simon. That ball sent in, up to the top, brought in by Gladio, shot and saved again by McGuire and taken out by Iowa's defense.
Yeah, once again, like we saw from the last corner, McGuire was ready. She was down for that ball. Did a great job saving it, and the Iowa defense quick on their feet just to get it out of the circle as quickly as possible, move it across the field and try to get it up. But Penn State was able to stop it on their defensive end. They are now crossing, looking to get it back over the midfield line to make something happen for their offense.
Iowa will recollect that ball and be able to bring that ball hopefully down into their offensive half of the field. Some great pressure on the sideline there by Penn State's defense. And that ball will go out and be brought back by Penn State.
Another lifted ball like we keep seeing from this Penn State defense when they're clearing up the field. Was not recovered by a forward, so therefore Iowa will take it just about midpoint in the field.
Ball was potentially intended for Gladio higher up on the field, but was recovered by Iowa.
Penn State's only in-conference loss so far this season was to Northwestern, where Iowa did defeat Northwestern. So this is definitely not the expected outcome of the game, not what we thought we'd see, but a really good performance by both teams so far.
And just right there, had a great reverse shot from Sophia Gladio. Just high and wide, unfortunately. That's something we've been seeing so far with these reverse shots, but they worked earlier in the game, so it doesn't hurt to try. And great recollect by Penn State. Gladio off to Alessi. Alessi brings it in. She's going to fight for it, and that will be brought out for Iowa.
You can tell Gladio really wants it. There have been 8 shots so far from the Nittany Lions on the day, 4 of which have been from her, 2 of which I believe were both reverse shots. You know, that kind of blind shot we talked about earlier. That's the high risk, high reward. On assignment, she came up successful with it in the first half. That is the only goal on the day for either team, so you got to give her credit for trying.
And a great takeaway here for Iowa, hoping to get it down to their end of the field. And it seems like they will have a chain of whistles going in their favor to bring this ball into their offensive part of the field. And that will go into the circle. And a shot on goal, but is fanned away by Penn State's defense and Brie Baracco there in goal. And that ball quickly sent back to the center back there. And field is quickly switched.
Iowa's midfield all over this transition. They really want to get it back. They want this goal. They want to tie it. They do not want to face another Big Ten loss. They want to defend their 4 seed right now, possibly go up somewhere in the top 3. They are fighting for every play, not letting anything get by them like they did in the first quarter.
Both of these teams competing for the Big Ten as well. You have Penn State sitting at number 2 in the Big Ten, 4-1 against Big Ten opponents. And Iowa sits right below them at 3rd with 3-1 against Big Ten opponents. So not only is it a big competition nationally ranked, but even just in the Big Ten rankings, a great matchup for these two teams and some very high competition and high stress.
Like we said, both these teams competing for Big Ten tournament titles and regular season titles. The Big Ten is arguably the most competitive conference in the NCAA for field hockey right now. We have Rutgers coming off the 2021 Big Ten championship. We have Maryland, who's set to the top of the conference right now, so far undefeated in the Big Ten. There's Northwestern that was the only team to defeat Penn State. It was in an overtime loss, 5-4, I believe. And then Iowa, obviously, they're a really strong program, always have been. They have a lot of offensive weapons, and their defense is so solid. It just, any of these conference games can go any way, and I think that's what's so awesome about Big Ten field hockey.
Looks like we have an extra ball on the field there that the goalie will kick away before we resume play here. Again, quickly switched fields, but they had a bit more of a lane open this time on this side. And I will be able to take it down. A great drive being set up for Iowa. Hopefully they can capitalize off of it. But quickly recovered by Penn State and taken down to their half of the field.
I think we've seen more individual carries up the field in the last minute than we have in the entire game so far. All we're seeing is the quick movement of the ball, just because both teams are so strong with their sticks that can be intercepted at any time. That ball was intended for Iowa, sent a little bit far. Iowa will take it out. Sending it right across the field back to their other defender, right through the middle, and back to the side.
And that poke check will push the ball out. We still sit here at 1-0 at 4.5 minutes left in the third. Some great offensive showing from both teams so far. And we have Gladio, it looks to be taking it up into the circle, but I will recover that. And it will be a Penn State ball at the 25.
Coming into this game before, the first ball was set off into play, we thought this was going to be a really high-scoring game between the two teams, two powerhouse offenses, both of which leading the Big Ten in various statistics. But they've done a really good job. Their defense is shining out on both sides of the ball, keeping each other out of the goal circle in general, protecting their goalies.
A very heavy defense game, which is different from what both of these teams have probably been experiencing so far most of this season with, again, as you said, their teams offensively outscoring multiple teams in a lot of different categories. So definitely a big showing for their defense, and both teams have been amazing so far. Looks to be some miscommunications on the field between the players and refs. Iowa getting another good push up the field. Able to break through two Penn State players. And a great chance for Iowa to take this ball.
It's a great effort by both defense and goalie for Penn State. We had a man down for a split second, but she is up and running. She is clear to continue play. That was, I think, Iowa's closest chance at scoring today. They haven't taken many shots. They only have 3 on the day through 3 quarters, which is very unlike them. But statistically speaking, they are the kind of team that they aren't going to take the shot unless they have it, and they're really good at following through and finishing those shots when they do. So when they know, and they'll rip it when they can.
Another quick drive from Iowa to try and bring it down into the circle, but that ball is going to go wide off of a deflection from Penn State, so that ball will be Iowa's at the 25, and they're going to send it back and switch fields, see if they can get a new look. Iowa still in possession, but getting heavily pressured by Penn State. This ball will come in from the sideline for Iowa. Turned over back to Iowa, but now back in Penn State's possession. A great defensive show right now.
That's what you gotta love about this sport. No team ever has possession. It really is anyone's ball at any given time. And we're seeing a lot of that, just going back and forth and back and forth. But
now a great opportunity for Iowa to get something going on a corner here. Only their second of the game, first of the second half. We sit here in the third quarter with 1:20 left, and Iowa is going to get a great chance to make something happen and potentially even this game up. This will be our second opportunity to see Bree Baracco in goal here for Penn State and see how she does against this Iowa offense.
Penn State defense, they're looking pretty calm in there. Seems like they've got a good game plan to stop whatever Iowa's about to show us.
A good shot, but that is going to be deflected out to the midfield for Penn State.
And Penn State's looking to move up the field pretty quickly over here. As they do see, they have a minute left to play in this third quarter, hoping to increase the score for the first time since the first quarter, where they have been sitting 1-0 since the end of the first.
That ball is taken over by Sophia Gladio, but she is pressured. And that ball will be turned over to Iowa on a chipped shot. And that ball is going to be sent out and will be back for Iowa, excuse me. And this will be a great drive for them. So far, with only 25 seconds left in this third quarter.
This ball is brought back out by Penn State. The ball was just overshot, looking for an Iowa forward, but went out of bounds. But Iowa is still pressuring the ball, and they might come up with it right now against the Penn State defender.
And on that ball, it will be time for our third quarter. We still sit here with number 5 Penn State leading 1-0 against number 4 Iowa. So far, we had a great showing by Iowa's offense this half, an amazing turnout by them in that last push, but unfortunately could not capitalize on that last half quarter. So we will come back in a few for this fourth quarter at all this entire season. Both of their lone losses have come from a golden goal overtime opportunity. So this is a very turn of events for Iowa field hockey, trailing in this second half with only 15 minutes left in this game.
Yeah, this has been a really interesting game. Like I said earlier, not what we expected at all from Iowa or from Penn State, but they're keeping it close and they're keeping it really competitive and also really clean. You got to appreciate the clean game, especially in such high-stake matches like this. It'll be interesting to see if Iowa can pull something off in the second half, or if Bree Baracco will record her 5th shutout of the season. Also interesting to note, Bree Baracco's three of her 4 shutouts this season have been against fellow Big Ten opponents, so she really shows up when it counts. We'll see if we can make that happen for a 5th game in such a high-stakes game like we have today.
She's gotten some great support by her defense so far today, and the defense has been the one to talk about so far this whole game. Haven't seen much from both offenses. Both defenses have been in control of this game and keeping each team in and keeping their goalies safe.
Also to note for the Iowa defense, they have only let up an average of 7.7 shots per game. Penn State tallying 9 in just 3 quarters. This is very unlike them, but when you have such a high-faceted offense coming into a game like this, you've got to expect those kind of numbers. State will recover it, looking to bring it back into the Iowa goal circle. Great stop by Iowa defender. That could have been a crucial play if she did not get that.
Drive by Iowa's offense down into their half, but kicked out and will be coming back in at the 25 for Iowa.
You got to give it to the Iowa offense too. All 3 of their shots for the day have been shots on goal. Like we said earlier, they don't take a lot of shots, but when they do, they are very efficient and usually successful. They usually tally about 14 shots per game, and they are only at 3, so that is one thing to credit the Penn State defense towards.
And that ball will be coming in. And that ball will hit an Iowa foot, so that will come right back out of that circle. Great handling by Sophia Gladio there in midfield, and it will be brought back down and into the circle for Penn State. And a great shot up to the pass, but unfortunately flicked away, but Gladio will take control of it. And Gladio will talk with the ref.
I think it's interesting we've seen Gladio doing a lot of the dirty work around the midfield area. Usually she's the one front and center, ready to take those shots when they come, but she has been hot and heavy on the Iowa defense, just trying to get the ball by them. She has such strong stick skills, and she's been doing a pretty great job today so far, trying to set up her teammates. Like we said, the goal we saw earlier from Anna Simon, my goodness, I could not find that name to save my own life. That was definitely credited to Sophia Gladio getting the ball open for her and giving her an opportunity to get that goal. Penn State is now in the timeout circle, trying to make a game plan for the next 11 minutes to figure out what they can get going.
We saw Sophia Gladio head over to the ref there, and so the play is currently under review, and we will wait to hear back from the refs. Both teams have a pretty decent schedule left in the season. You have, of course, on Sunday, we'll see both teams taking on some out-of-conference teams. You have Iowa taking on James Madison at 10, and then you'll have Penn State versus Lafayette at 1:30. Both teams having a few extra games afterwards. Iowa, of course, having multiple Big Ten matchups. That is their only remaining games after James Madison. Penn State has a bit more relief against Bucknell, Kent State, and then will finish their season off against Maryland and Rutgers. But unfortunately for Iowa, this is not their last Big Ten matchup at all. They have teams like Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State still to come.
And like you mentioned earlier, the next 5 games for them are going to be on the road, so they aren't even getting the comfort of being at home for these games, getting that home field advantage. So it should be interesting to see how these teams all fall by the end of conference play.
Looks like we have an official decision, and we will see what the review turned out.
It's looking like the ball is going to be coming out for Iowa. I think Sophia Gladio was hoping there would be a foot call in there. They can get another opportunity for a corner, but the ball will be coming out for Iowa right now.
Great drive by Iowa there, switching fields and taking it right up the sideline.
I think
Great opportunity for Iowa.
We've seen the intensity for Iowa pick up for sure in the last quarter of this game. They really do not want to see this game go almost scoreless despite Penn State's goal in the first half. The first quarter, that is. They are picking it up. They're getting a little bit more choppy, but it's more aggressive, so that's what you like to see for them.
So a clarification on what that review was. That was Sophia Gladio actually using Penn State's challenge to see if there should have been a corner. However, that play did stand as per the ref's call, and that is why that ball came out in Iowa's favor.
The Nittany Lions wasting absolutely no time getting the ball back into their offensive end. Like we keep saying, trying to increase this lead. This is not like them to only have a one-score game this close to the end, right in the fourth quarter.
With 10 minutes left, we still sit at 1-0 here in the fourth quarter in State College. But some great offensive and defensive showings from both teams. The offense for Iowa kicked up heavy in the second half. And you see them now taking a great drive down the field to bring this ball into the corner. But that ball will be coming out for Penn State on an obstruction. Again, a lifted pass by Penn State, something they have been doing all night just to keep from interceptions on the ground. Both teams have been switching fields a lot with passes, so it's just a great way for them to get that ball downfield and not turn the ball over. There will be a small whistle and that ball will be brought back. And that ball will go to Iowa.
It was a right idea by Iowa's defense, but it will be intercepted by Penn State, sending it right back down the field. They are just playing a game of back and forth possession. No one's really had it and then lost it. It's just like a pinball.
This ball will be taken into Iowa's half the field and sent down into the circle for Iowa. Brought back out, but quickly back in. Great pressure. And that ball will be Iowa's at the 25.
Both teams have gotten a lot more vocal in this half. You can tell the tensions are running high and the emotions are getting there along with it. They both really want this.
Iowa will do anything they can to at least send this game into overtime. They have not been extremely successful in overtime so far this season, but they have had one overtime win, and hopefully they can send it into another at least and tie this game up.
Penn State is just coming in strong with this defense, looking to keep Iowa off the board, helping Brie Baracco with that 5th shutout of the season, going up another win in Big Ten play and nationally. Iowa is one of the 4 teams that stand above them, so a loss for them would do wonders for Penn State. And here's a big opportunity for Penn State in the circle. A pass intended for Sophia Gladio. That was almost perfect. She just missed it. The ball will be coming out now for Iowa.
It was a great pass by Gemma Punch on the left side to center it for Gladio, but just missing that post opportunity. Both teams fighting with a lot of grit after their last time these two teams met. Penn State definitely coming in with a vengeance after losing 4-0 last season, but showing that they are the better team so far this year with a 1-0 lead here with 6 minutes in the 4th. And that will be a penalty corner for Iowa. So we will see Iowa's offense here again, see if they can get something and tie this game up with 6 minutes exactly left in the fourth quarter.
As you can hear the fans in the stands, they are cheering for Bree. The defense seems like, once again, pretty calm back there, looking like they've got her back. Ready to stop the third Iowa corner of the day.
Looks like you will have 24 Iowa's Annika Irvine down for the insert. She will send this ball to the top of the circle. And a shot in, and that will tie the game at 1. With 5:54 left in the fourth quarter, Iowa has finally taken their chance and tied this game at 1.
That is the same play we saw from them in their last two corners, just trying to get that setup going. We saw it with the stop right at the top for the person on the left to take that shot. It was finally successful. Like we said, they don't take a lot of shots, but when they do, they are successful for the most part, and they just made it happen, tying that game. Like we said, 5 minutes to go. Potential overtime for both teams. Look, we've seen great success and failure in overtime for both of them this season, so it should be really interesting.
And you could hear the fans right before that corner was happening, getting fired up out there, and potentially those Iowa fans really helped out. And it is confirmed it was a goal for Iowa from Ante Nizel. That will currently be that will make it her 6th goal of the season, first on the day.
Yeah, before the start of the 2022 season, we've seen her starting in 81 consecutive games for Iowa. She is a 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. She's a first-team All-American. And what's interesting is that she was the one to put Iowa on the board today as a defender. She is just all around an exceptional player, definitely one of Iowa's strongest in a while.
So definitely some changing of the momentum here late into the fourth quarter. But Penn State already down into their offensive half, hoping to take this lead back and avoid an overtime game. Quickly brought into the circle for Penn State, but that will be brought back out by Iowa.
I know we mentioned it earlier too, but that will tally for the 5th shot on the day for Iowa. All 5 of those shots have been shots on goal. Their efficiency when they get the opportunity is world class. You don't see that from many teams.
Both teams having only 3 corners on the day, but Iowa able to capitalize off of that last one here. If this game is to go into overtime, both teams have had some experience, but Iowa having much more experience in the overtime play than Penn State. Penn State only having 1 game go into overtime, and it was their loss this past weekend against Northwestern. And Iowa having 2 overtime losses to North Carolina and Maryland, but 1 overtime win in the very beginning of the season against Wake Forest. So both teams are not used to going into overtime so far this season. So it'll be a very interesting experience if this game is to go into an overtime. A great drive here by Iowa back down to the field, but quickly pressured and recovered by Penn State. And that ball will be centered to Alessi.
The ball's moving really fast up the field. 2:30 left to play. Like we said, Penn State looking to escape another overtime game. Iowa as well. Both teams really eager to make something happen here. You can see the intensity on both sides of the ball. An interesting thing to point out is that the two leading goal scorers on either team, Alex Winsecki and Sophia Gladio, both of them have yet to score or assist on the day. Which is not the kind of performance you'd expect to see from these two offensive units, but there's still 2 minutes left to go.
And we will go back to review on the previous play. A great fourth quarter showing by both teams. Iowa being able to tie it at 1 here with 1:51 left in the fourth. It'll be interesting to see if we do head into overtime for this game, but currently we will take this play to review and see what the refs have to decide. As we mentioned earlier, you have Penn State out in the pink uniforms. It is the pink game today. We are having a big alumni weekend here at Penn State Field Hockey. They have been highlighting some amazing championship teams in the past and some great players as well. And they will also conclude alumni weekend with the groundbreaking for the new stands of the facility on Sunday after their game against Lafayette. Excuse me. Like the teams are making their way back out onto the field.
It's looking like once again the ball will be coming out for Iowa. 1:51 left to play. After that challenge, both teams must be well rested, ready to make something big happen in these last 2 minutes.
Looks like there is some more communication between the refs. Players looking a bit confused, definitely just wanting to get back to play here. And we are back to play. And that ball was quickly sent down to the opposite side of the field.
Some really good ball movement by Penn State so far. 1:30 left to play. Coming up the side, we have 4 Iowa defenders looking to take this ball right back. We're getting a foot call on Iowa, so the ball will progress closer to the circle. See if Sophia Gladio can make something happen in the final minute to play.
in ball handling to get that call still in Penn State's favor. And that looks to be a potential corner going into review.
Like we said earlier, Penn State has only had 3 corners in the day, and their only score has come off of a corner. Same goes for both teams, so this could be a make-or-break situation for Penn State.
This could be the potential last opportunity that Penn State gets with 54 seconds left here in the 4th to play. And both teams tied at 1. This might, if this rules in Penn State's favor, this could potentially be their last opportunity to capitalize and take that lead. Teams just huddling here on the field. At the top of the screen, you can see Brie Baracco talking up there outside of her goal with a few of her defenders.
All right, so it appears we are coming in with a corner. Like we said, this is the last chance for Penn State to make something happen. Can Iowa's defense hold them out just a little bit longer, taking them to another overtime? We'll have Mackenzie Alessi inserting. Looks like we might have the same setup going up top, which we've seen for the last 3 corners throughout the day.
Alessi will send that ball in up to the top. Stop for Gladio. Quickly maneuvered around. Reverse shot missed. And then is cleared out by Iowa. A different look than the past few corners. Instead of taking the straight shot, tried to maneuver around a bit. Great recovery by Penn State.
With just 30 seconds left to play, you're seeing they're leaving it all out here, trying to avoid that overtime, but at this point in the game, it's looking like that's what the situation is going to be looking like, unless Iowa can pull something off right here. Penn State will get the ball back and be sending it back upfield.
Quick cross of the field by Penn State, trying to push it up.
5 seconds left to play. This game is looking like an overtime will be happening. Yet another Big Ten overtime to seal the deal, see who can make something happen.
And after regulation here in State College, number 4 Iowa and number 5 Penn State are tied at 1. We will be heading into and we will go into the first 10-minute overtime, and it will be a golden goal situation, so the first team to score will win. If we do not get a goal at the end of these 10 minutes, we will play another 10. If anything were to not happen in that extra 10 as well, we will go into a shootout. Hopefully either team can get this handled here in the first 10 minutes. This is only Penn State's 2nd time in overtime, and this is Iowa's 3rd game that has gone into overtime. So we will see how either team plays out. Of course, Penn State's last experience in an overtime game was just recently against Northwestern, where they lost 5-4. So this will be an interesting time to see if they turn things around from their last overtime experience.
I think we're definitely seeing a less frantic ball movement from Penn State here, taking more advantage of their time, knowing they have the 10 minutes, they have the extra 10 minutes. It's not do or die just yet, but if they can capitalize on it soon, like they did in the first quarter of the game, get a goal in early, they'll be good as golden.
For overtime here, we will play 7v7, so both teams limited on the number of players. And that is a great goal to end this game. quick in the first 2 minutes of overtime. However, we will take that to review. A great shot looks to be by Sophia Gladio.
You could hear earlier before that ball entered the circle, they're screaming Fia up, just trying to get her in the goal circle. Like I said earlier, she's usually the one on the receiving end of that ball movement, getting it and finishing it early. But she was the one kind of back in the midfield doing some of the dirty work, getting the ball back from the defenders. Like we said, it was going pinballing back and forth between everyone. So it's nice to finally see her getting up there and being the one to finish those shots. And she did. It's under review, but it was a beautiful shot, great opportunity.
Right as she went to take that shot, if you look closely, you could see the ref almost signaling a potential corner. So they will take that to review by the refs to see if the goal should stand or if we will take this back to a corner or potentially going out in Iowa's favor.
If you're Iowa right now, you're definitely hoping they're going to call it in a corner. They've done a great job today keeping Penn State off the board in their previous 4 corners. So hoping they can do that to earn themselves another shot and a potential chance to get down at the end of the field and score and take this home.
But if you're Penn State, you are hoping that goal stands, and that will be only their second time in an overtime game, but quickly Sophia Gladio would have pushed them over the top there. Both teams hoping for entirely different results.
I think anyone on either team can agree that it is a really cold night in Happy Valley, so the sooner they can get this over with, the better, but each team, like you said, still hoping for their own individual benefits here.
And both halves of the crowd still, even though we went straight into an overtime, both crowds still had amazing energy. And from that reaction,